Hello, I am Elle Wood, obviously, hardcore sales, not hardcore sales. And today I've got the rather wonderful Alex Evans with us from Estate Apps. Am I right?
Yes, you are
Fantastic.
right.
So tell us a little bit about what you do, Alex, for those who
uh,
might not know you.
um, I build websites. That's what I do. I help our clients basically maximize what they're doing digitally, whether we provide the service or not, I might add.
Cool. Okay, that's awesome. And do you only work in the property sector?
We specialize in the property sector. Yes, we niche in it. I think 92% of our clients are estate agents. We also do like random other projects like insurance and manufacturers and so on, but that's not that. We'll do that if it comes along, but that's not our focus. Our focus has always been property. That's important to me because there's obviously that's all we do. All we do is talk to agents, and that's what drives us, really.
I think that's so useful. I know in the past we've had marketeers come and talk to us who could offer websites or, whatever part of marketing service. And they would say, so then we can help you find more buyers. We're like, that doesn't help. So I think it's always useful to work with a supplier that actually knows the industry as well as you do. What has been lately one of the kind of new innovative features that you've developed that you have been finding useful?
I mean, we've built 18 features. We did a count the other day. We've built 18 new features over the last 2 years, which for us, normally we aim for about 5 maximum. 18, that's per year. 18 in 2 years is quite unusual. It's just happened. It's just happened naturally. We've just got, but I feel like we and our clients, obviously, because some of our ideas come from our clients, have just got a bit more creative about how we do what we're doing and how we're doing it. But yeah, it's also interesting because we're working with different CRMs. The newer CRMs allow us a little bit more flexibility, and it just helps make a little bit more, add a bit more creativity to the whole process.
Okay, that's really interesting. So for anyone thinking about their CRM at the moment, what's the advantage of a more modern, more open CRM? Because that might sometimes not always be that obvious if you're not techie.
That is a very good question. I always recommend looking at some. Well, I mean, the first thing is obvious. You've got to be comfortable with it. Test the hell out of it before you sign up with it, because that's going to be the lifeblood of your business for hopefully a few years, not months. So you've got to be comfortable with it. The problem with a lot of people when they're using a CRM, and actually I'm guilty of the same thing, funnily enough, obviously a business CRM, not a property one, is I don't use half of it. I don't use half the features that are in it. I've never even looked at them. I mean, I know they're there, I can see them, but I've never used them. So that's quite natural. But the problem with the property, because they're massive, and it's a good idea to try and maximize what you're getting out of it while you're there, because otherwise you're missing out on a few things that you could actually be helping you, productivity wise, sort of automations and so on. In terms of the rest of it, though, to be honest, obviously we're a third-party supplier, so we're independent. But when the main frustration I've always had with the property industry, is the lack of integration, the lack of openness, the lack of transparency with software providers. And it's over the last few years, the last 3-4 years. I mean, there's some companies that have always done it. Agent OS is a perfect example. They've always had an open API. Funnily enough, we've got a fantastic relationship with those guys. But that's taken a long time to change. So now the new CRMs like Street, there's Vault EA, and there's a few others that have come along. They're brand new, or relatively new, and they're immediately starting off with the open API approach, which that's perfect because developers like us can just create whatever we want, and that's really good. What you don't want to do is sign up with someone who doesn't have an open API, because that doesn't make any sense. That's just a closed system. That essentially has been the problem with the property industry for many a year. So for me, it feels like you would be going backwards.
So the advantage of it being open and being able to talk to your website would mean more automation was possible?
Automations. Yeah. So from a simple level, you have a form like a book of OWL, And the data, when it's submitted, yes, it will go to your inbox, your email inbox, but it'll also go into the CRM directly. Well, that saves time. Yeah, it might only be a few milliseconds, but it's still time.
Well, that's how Toyota overtook General Motors, wasn't it? Those milliseconds. So I think we all know that story. So there are other companies, external companies that you can pay where they say that they do all that automation. But do you think that there's a value to keeping it within your CRM and your website alone?
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's a good, I mean, I like the idea of having one system for multiple things, if that's what you mean. I like the idea of it, but it's got to work for you. I mean, it's got to do the bits that you need it to do, but also allow a little bit of flexibility around the sides, because obviously you can't have one thing that does everything, but it does it badly. Do you know what I mean? That would make no sense. But yeah, but I mean, that's from a CRM point of view, that's what I would look for. You've got to be comfortable with it, and it's got to be future proof, and that's what an open API essentially is. Having an open API tells you that they're thinking about what the data and allowing someone else to come in and build something that they might not want to do, and that's important because not every CRM wants to build stuff. Do you know what I mean? So yeah.
Absolutely, that makes sense. So when it comes to websites itself, in terms of things like website design, are there any hints and tips you could give people for the current zeitgeist on, you know, what sort of images you should be using, for example, or whether video would be more important?
Again, I could talk for days about this. So yeah, all right. I mean, in terms of call to action are important. That's the basic one of the fundamentals. You want to generate leads. To generate leads, you need to make sure the website is really clean, is really easy to use. Obviously, not just on a desktop. It needs to be easy to use on a mobile. Now, actually 80%, so we get about 1.5 million users going through our platform per month, and 80% of that right now is mobile. That's nuts. It's about 3 years ago, it was 65%. I was telling my brother I didn't think that would get too much higher than that, but not 80%. Weirdly, 65% of that is iPhone. Didn't know that. Who knew?
That's disturbing with all the changes that Apple have made, isn't it, in terms of their advertising and email marketing options.
Indeed. But no, so from ease of use, that's important. Calls to action, that's also important. What else we got? In terms of design, video is an interesting one. I like video on websites. I do like video on websites. I like them on what we call background video. So you know, when you first land on a page, on the home page, the first thing you see is a video. I actually like that. I'm not a huge fan of drone footage though. I find it a little bit samey, a little bit boring. I can't pick out certain things because it's obviously quite high. I can't pick out certain things. I like an originality. You know, like a couple dancing, for example. Yeah, they're in a house, but I like that because it makes me think, oh yeah, that's memorable. You know, that the whole point of a video is it needs to be memorable. You want the user to remember you because they're going to go to Google. They're going to click on 5-6 links, for example. Generally the higher reviewed ones, obviously. But you want to stand out amongst that little group. And things like video and good graphics helps that, you know.
That makes perfect sense to me. Actually, I chose a load of video footage for a client yesterday, a mutual client of ours, and I found the cutest video of a mummy playing with a baby in a kitchen. So that kind of ties in with the couple dancing type thing that you were mentioning. It's just slightly more interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. Can you give me a sec?
So that's video. What about images on your website?
Images is I struggle with images. Number one, I love local community shots, stuff that brings the personality out of the area. What I'm not a huge fan of, and I say this to everyone. There's 3 types of images, right? The first is external. So you know, if I was an agent in the 1980s, I would show a lot of photos of external property. That's great if I was in that age. Nowadays, it's I call it the IKEA effect. So you're walking around IKEA and they lay out the room in front of you, and you end up buying most of it. I love that sort of effect. In terms of photos, that's internals. So basically, you see internals of rooms and so on. That one actually works really well because it brings family and sort of a warm, friendly feeling to the site, which is a good. I mean, that's a good thing. That's what you want, yeah. Because that's effectively what you're selling, really. In relation to the third one, though, the third one is with people. I have never really been a big fan of the with people ones. Why? Because they look stocky. So I generally try and avoid that sort of stuff. Some of them work well. Don't get me wrong. Some of them do, but it's just not. It's just not my thing, really. At the end of the day, it's a client's choice. I mean, it's up to them. The one thing I would always never do, though, is mix. So any of what I've just said, external, internal, and with people, mix them, because that looks weird. You've got to pick one route, or pick one approach rather, and then stick with it throughout, so it's consistent at least. Because otherwise, it just doesn't feel right as you're bouncing from page to page. But yeah, no, that's the images. But yeah, obviously, there's nothing wrong with stock images. I mean, a lot of people say, "Oh, should I use custom? I haven't got any custom images." That's fine. That's not an issue. Stock images are good as a replacement. I'd always obviously recommend custom photos, but if you can't get them, then that's not a problem. But
surely estate agents have custom photos, because surely 90% are doing professional photography for their clients. Is that not acceptable?
I mean, I would. I mean, some agents are new, so obviously, so there's always going to be caveats, but yeah, I would agree with that. But again, you've got to think about the stock, what they're actually doing, and what area they're in, and so on. So obviously, again, there's lots of different reasons, but there's nothing wrong with stock images. You just got to be careful about the ones you select, because what you don't want to do is pick something that's quite generic that even you've seen before, because obviously that's not going to be very good.
I think that happens a lot now with Canva and Pixabay and Pexels.
Yeah.
You see the same you see the same models, because it's just everyone's using the same things nowadays.
Yeah. So yeah, no, but yeah. So yeah, I mean, we use iStock Photo, and they've always done us all right. The other thing to, of course, remember is you don't want to go for images that look American, because obviously all these stock photo sites, they're based in America, so obviously the largest chunk of their images are actually American. Obviously, you want to avoid that, because you're not, unless you're selling something over there, that's pointless.
There was an agent local to us over here in Spain, and they were using an American photo, clearly American photo stock imagery, to advertise tiny Spanish / Arabic corticos. It was just that we were like, what on earth are you doing? Yeah, we made quite a good blog post in the end.
But no, but that shows that they didn't have. They didn't get involved in their website process, really, and that also shows, when you think about it, taking it further, that they actually didn't care, which is a problem for their brand. So yeah, so that's this is all the sort of stuff that I would normally talk about when I'm onboarding a new client, because this is all important. You have to care about what you're doing. So put best foot forward. So
absolutely. And so maybe we've talked about video, images. How do you choose the writing?
Content writing. I mean, that's an interesting one. Again, you could go any which way. You can do it yourself, if you've got the time to do it, because obviously it's not a 5-minute job. In terms of, they're all obviously amongst. There's obviously you. But there's third-party suppliers that will obviously provide content writing services. I mean, I've got no problem with either approach. I mean, that's not really my concern. Where I always try and get involved is if I see a lack of certain keywords that I think could be a little bit better. So, for example, areas is huge in terms of content, because the areas you cover is what I mean. And that's not just where your branch is, by the way. That's also the areas around it that you also cover, but aren't actually where your branch is. Because Google feeds off location. So if you can't give it anything to run off, then you're not gonna rank anywhere. We think about SEO as with everything we do. The way we code our platform is SEO driven, but unfortunately for us, that's only one part of it. Reviews is another element of it, but also the actual content. That's why content is so important, because it's a large part of the SEO journey. Blogging, again, that's why blogging is so important. It's because it's a massive thing on SEO. I mean, the whole point of blogging, really, obviously, apart from giving yourself fresh social media content, which obviously is a good thing, as you know, but you need to make sure Google sees that your site is being actively updated, because if it isn't, then you're gradually going to see yourself dropping, because Google's not got anything to feed off, you know. So yeah, that's why so content is vitally important. Yes, of course. Yes.
I think that's something that a lot of people don't understand about blogging. They don't realize, you know, that it's not just a love letter to the internet. It's actually, you know, you're not just like shouting into the void and hoping that somebody's going to read it. It's actually from a search engine perspective, it makes the search engine realize that it's an alive website. It's not one of the trillions that must just be languishing in outer space.
Yeah, no, it is incredibly important. Yeah, I mean, obviously, the other parts of your site, like your property listings, they're going to update naturally, and obviously that's really important for SEO as well. But the blogs, area guides is another thing. Area guides, again, the more opportunities you give yourself to talk about areas is a good thing. We have a feature called local community, just specifically articles all about community. You've got success story. I mean, I could go on and on, but the more times you mention the areas, the better. And that's something I always look for when someone supplies me with content, no matter where it's come from. I'll always look for those little key points, because that's what drives it, you know.
Gotcha. And you've mentioned a little while ago now, you mentioned reviews. That is obviously absolutely something that we all clamour for, regardless of whether we're a third-party supplier or an estate agent. How do you go about helping your clients get reviews?
As you know, I'm exceedingly passionate about reviews. I don't employ salespeople. All of my business is referral based. So reviews is what drives that. And the good thing for me is reviews are free. You mentioned there though that everyone strives for them. I don't know if that's true or not. A lot of agents I talk to don't even ask for reviews.
Seriously? Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
I suppose it's a byproduct for me of working with Matthew Wood for so many years.
It's funny because I think people get scared. I think the reason is confidence. I think that's what it is. It's confidence, because the problem is if you give someone a link to Google and that review turns out not to be favorable, then you're going to get it in the neck.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, with my mentoring clients, I have to do quite a lot of work on mindset with them to encourage them to ask for reviews. I didn't realize quite perhaps how widespread that was as an issue, but I think maybe there's a free training workshop in there somewhere.
It's just giving people the confidence. But one of the features we built is, well, it's called post review, but we built it about 2 years ago now. It's quite an old feature, but it's the simplest thing we ever built as well. It's the simplest thing, but it's become the most powerful thing we've ever built, because it's just changed social proof of our clients dramatically. And yeah, it just works. It works really well. It's part of the platform. It's also a standalone product. Essentially, it takes if you do a 1, 2, 3 star review, it sends you an email rather than going public. If you do a 4 or 5 star review, it says, so what platform would you like to post a review on? And then it gives you multiple options as to where you're going to put it. Obviously, going back to the point, if you don't ask, you don't get. So this is what I'm saying, is a lot of people need to get into the habit of actually just asking, you know, and annoyingly, that is part of your business process. You know, that's something I can't control. That's something no one can control. That's up to you.
Absolutely. That's the same thing with my mentoring clients. That's why I talk about digital marketing processes and well-being, because if your mindset's in the right place, you'll follow the processes properly, and then you'll deal with any digital marketing leads effectively. So
nice.
what is it? Process equals profitability and productivity or some shit. I don't know. I can't remember my own tagline.
I was going to say I don't know, but nonetheless, yeah. I mean, the thing is, with the reviews, I've been doing it for so many years. That's just it's second nature to me. I ask for reviews across just any time I want. But there is a key thing here though, because when I build a website, I'm not just doing the site. I'm building a long-term relationship, like you are as well. Like you're in the same boat. With an agent though, a sales agent particularly, they've got a limited window. You know, that window is what, let's say, I don't know, it could be weeks to maybe 6 months maximum in that sales window. Well, after that, you can't ask for reviews anymore because they've left that journey's ended. You're not in it no more. That's just spam, basically, if you keep asking after that. But if you don't ask, most agents I speak to, I ask the question, so when do you ask for a review? They say, at the end. I mean, that's fine. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But you can only ask once.
Exactly.
You know?
And you forget. The thing is, if it's a full stop at the end of your process, the chances are it's just going to drop off because you hand over the keys, you get given champagne, everyone's cheering. You're never then going to go, could you leave me a review, please? It's just not. It's just not the logical time to do it. The logical time is when they go, thank you so much. Bam.
Right then. No, actually, see, that is one of the times. Yes, but actually, I'm going to change that. So,
go on.
For me, you ask as many times as you can. So why not? When they've just signed to join you, like
that's
literally
what
they've just signed,
didn't they?
No, I know, and that's why they're supposedly the world's most favourite agent. But no, according to Trustpilot, at least. But there's no reason why an independent agent can't do that. And why? Because they're obviously going to be happy. Someone's not going to sign with you if they're not happy. They're not comfortable with their decision. So that's the perfect time. If they say no or don't do it, that's fine. But the next opportunity is when you've done a good viewing. I mean, that happens a lot. Why not ask for a review at that point? Another one, obviously offer received, offers agreed, and then of course the end when they've moved. But what you've done there is you've converted the one opportunity, which was at the end, into 5 individual bits.
And even during the sales progression, you know, during the sales progression, I think there's, you know, I think obviously it's case dependent, but there are opportunities within that sales progression to ask as well.
Obviously, that's a sales journey, but obviously tenants and landlords slightly different. I mean, landlords actually goes back to what you and I have got, is because obviously that's a long-term relationship. Yeah. So you could in theory you can long that out and ask multiple times, but the other thing people forget is, and again, I get this question a lot, is but they've already given me a Google review. Yeah, that's fine, but did you know you can update a Google review? If you go back to the review you just gave to someone on Google, it shows you what the review is, but then it allows you to edit it and update it and add more to it. So, for example, if someone done a review for you at the start of the journey, and then at the end of the journey you asked them again, they can update the review, and that review almost becomes a success story in itself. Oh yeah, I'm still using this agent, and yes, they were fantastic. They did everything they were supposed to do. Blah blah blah. That's even more powerful.
Hugely.
It won't obviously add another review to the overall stat, but it will bump up to the top again because obviously it's new. It's been updated.
And like you say, you're creating content for yourself. You don't even have to think up content.
Yeah, no, exactly. And of course, that's only one. I've only mentioned Google. Google's important because obviously that's part of the SEO thing, as I said. Plus, of course, what a lot of people forget is, especially nowadays, but people won't click on a website if it hasn't got a good. I mean, if it's rated poorly or not at all, then they're not going to click on it, are they? Because obviously they've got 10 other choices on that first page alone, minimum, where they're going to be rated highly, you know? So that's what you need to strive for. You need to be one of those, because it's all about getting that initial click. Reviews aren't just like an envy game. It's also actually getting the click in the first place, because people don't click on rubbish reviews. That just doesn't happen. I don't do it ever.
Why would you? There's so much choice.
Yeah, exactly.
There's so much choice in the world, regardless of what industry you're searching within, isn't it? You know, estate agent, hotel, you know, it doesn't really matter if the hotel's got pooey reviews, you're not going to go there. When you've got 5 others
No,
on the
exactly.
street, and that's exactly the same for estate agents or letting agents.
No, exactly. No,
There's
exactly.
so many of us.
It's essentially it's any business, isn't it? I'm the same with everything I do. I'll only buy a product. I bought a new laptop yesterday. Well, I bought the one which was rated the highest. I didn't look at the price. The price wasn't the important thing. It was, did it actually do what I wanted it to do? And the review showed me that. So I bought it. You know. And I'll do the same. That's what I do, just generally, you know. So, and I can't be the only person on the planet that does that.
You can't be, because I mean, we've been getting trained to do this for at least exactly. 6 years, you know, if not longer. So no, I think you're absolutely right there.
The other thing for reviews though is again, platform, but you want to be reviewed everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, so because yes, you're going to have a Google account, but you're probably going to have a Facebook account as well. So but you might actually get referred on Facebook. Facebook's important because, and obviously it's free, number one, but number two, more importantly, I as a business get referred a lot on, I know you do as well, get referred a lot on Facebook. Well, there's no reason a letting agent or an estate agent can't get referred on it. But the first thing people are going to do, because obviously they're in Facebook, is they're going to go to the reviews and check them out, aren't they? Because obviously that's what your profile shows. So again, if you're rated badly there, then you're probably not going to get that communication. So that's why it's everywhere you are, you want to look good, basically, and that's the point of reviews. You need to keep asking until you've got that one client has reviewed you pretty much everywhere. That's what you want. That's the goal. You know, I know it sounds a bit much, but it's true. I mean, I'm as you well know, I'm the same. I do that all the time. Because I make sure of it, you know.
Yeah.
That's
no, I completely agree.
As I said, if you don't ask, you don't get.
You don't. And I mean, I only did a talk about that a few weeks ago in my group. You know, ask for the business. I've had people on Facebook refer me, refer to me. So I've gone, anyone know anything about this? And then people have gone, oh yeah, you need to speak to, and then tagged people, and then they've gone, send me an email. Well, no, you're on the platform. Message me. So then I'm like, oh, well, I just don't even want to deal with you. You know, if you haven't even got the nous to just message me on the same platform we're actually having the conversation on. And I think that's a key thing when an estate agent's referred to on Facebook as well. You know, when you get tagged, go, oh, great, thanks for mentioning me. I'll send you a message. And then you've immediately got that opening. It's so fresh. And especially if you know that your social media is up to date and your reviews are looking ace on there, you know, you're not going to get it's a warm lead by that point. But what you said just then was you've got to make sure that wherever you are, you look good. That is exactly why websites are so important, because it doesn't matter where you're driving your traffic from, whether it's from Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, but the website becomes a hub for all the information that you want to present about yourself. And especially like yesterday when Facebook and Instagram went down, and WhatsApp, your website's even more important. Otherwise, no one could have contacted you. They couldn't have seen any of your blogs.
That's right. Bottom line, your business, it's your brand, isn't it? You want your brand to look good everywhere, and obviously reviews is part of that. But as you said, the website's the hub. All your social media traffic should be pointing to your website, because obviously that's where you want it to be. You want to get once the user's on your website, you want them to submit the form, because obviously that's the lead. So all of this connects together. Your website is your hub. And that's entirely true.
Exactly.
So everything we talked about today kind of is supports that. You know, that's exactly what it is.
I think likening it sometimes to, if you've got a agency that's on the high street, for example, they wouldn't leave posters up in the window that say Christmas is coming when it's the summer. You wouldn't leave a broken glass pane in the window, because it would give a bad impression. So that I see so many agents and their websites are just they're not up to date, they're not modern, they're not regularly blogging, you know. And I mean, there's so many content providers out there that provide a range of different options for blogs. You don't even have to write it yourself if that's not your bag, do you?
No, it's true. And we spoke about this before, but you've got to avoid duplicate content though. Because that's obviously a no-no. But
explain to people that don't know what that means.
So if someone has a blog and you copy it, that is not a good idea.
Not a good idea.
I mean, obviously, you can't do anything about it. Of course, you can do that. The problem is really there's no actual real point, because the whole point of blogging, going back to what we said earlier, is SEO. Google's not stupid. Google, once someone's posted something once, yeah, and then it sees the same thing somewhere else, the exact same thing, then it's not going to give any SEO value to it, because it's already been posted somewhere else. That's why duplicate content is so important, you know. That's also why, and again, I talk about this a lot, but not a lot of people sort of get this, is that's also why the portals have become so dominant, because for donkey's years, agents have been uploading their properties to the portals and their websites, right? The problem is the websites don't update quite as quickly as the portals do, especially now with the real-time feed. It's instant. You hit a button, it goes straight on the portal, yeah? Well, the website can't react as quick as that. So, because obviously it's a different feed. However, so what that means is that the portal has got your property online before you have. So therefore, you know, that makes the SEO, going back to Google and typing in random three-bed detached house in Croydon, where I'm from, you'll see a load of, you know, Rightmove, Zoopla, and so on and so on. That's a problem, but that's because the portals have got all the listings first, and that's how they're able to do that. What a lot of our agents do have started to delay that. So what they'll do is they'll post it on their website first, make sure it's gone on the website first, and then maybe 2 days later, maybe a week later now, it then goes on the portals. And that's a nice way. That's almost become a USP, because they're selling it to their actual internal, you know, clients before it goes anywhere else.
We used to do that Orchard Estates about 6 years ago. We called it the early bird register, and we promoted it relentlessly because I think you're absolutely right. It gives you the USP, and it also keeps you proactive as an agent. It means that you don't just rely on the computer and go bang, 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 and then wait for people to phone you. Instead, you have to think about your buyers, think about who's registered, think about who you could call, and like you say, it drives traffic to your website as long as you're promoting it. So then you've got more content.
I know. And again,
it all works together, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. All of this goes back to the hub. You're generating traffic, which hopefully will generate leads and so on. But yeah, I mean, all of this is the same thing. But yeah, it's very interesting.
It is interesting. Well, maybe it's only interesting to us because we're geeks, but
I mean, do you know what? I absolutely love what I do. I mean, you know that I actually love what I do. But I started my business when I was 17. I'm 41 now, and I still love what I do. We're always thinking of new features. We're always, oh my God, we can do that. Let's do that. And me and my brother, because my brother runs a company with me, we just get so excited. Like with the simplest of things. Oh my God, we can do that. Let's do that. Oh damn, we've got a priority list. We've got to prioritize. We can't do too many things at the same time. It's honestly, but that's because we just love what we do, you know, and that obviously comes through because all our clients get the benefit of that. You know, they're not paying for any of this development. We're doing it, and it's for them. You know, that's how we work. That's how
I think that's amazing. I didn't realize it was your brother that you were in business with. That's so lovely.
Yeah, Adam. Yeah. He's a very, very clever guy.
Is he the coder?
Don't say brains.
No, I wasn't. I was trying to think of like, I don't know websites well enough. I only do WordPress websites. Does he do the?
Yeah, he created our platform from scratch. Yes, he doesn't. He oversees everything. Yeah, he doesn't really. He does a lot of coding on it, but he's the top level. We've obviously got a team which obviously help him build it out further. But yeah, it's he started it. So,
amazing. Oh, cool. Family affair. Well, hopefully that's been interesting and useful for everybody that's been listening. And if not, then maybe Alex could answer some further questions. How can people get in touch with you?
Email alex.e@estateapps.co.uk. To be honest, I chat to a lot of people on WhatsApp, as you know, so I'm not going to give my mobile number on here, but feel free to get in touch by email, and I might give it to you. But yeah, I mean, there's loads of ways. So.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll pop some links in the descriptions, and then people can contact you if there's anything there that they didn't understand, that they'd like a bit more info on, or indeed if they would like a new website.
Cool.
Super. Thank you. Lovely to chat with you.